It's kind of funny, just a little bit funny, how people will start working out in order to look good and to feel better about themselves. And then once they start working out, they end up feeling worse about themselves because they just start comparing themselves to other people more. That's a little bit funny. It's a bad problem, very bad mental health implications, but it's a little bit funny. Now, the reason this happens is like, the common thread that links, feeling bad about yourself before you work out to feeling bad about yourself after you work out is that you're putting too much focus on your body, particularly how you look, not even like just how you function or anything like that. It's specifically how you look. And the reason I think body dysmorphia happens more in like fitness, like bodybuilding stuff, as opposed to like, I don't know, martial arts or strongmen or powerlifting, is because how you look is fundamental to how you present yourself, right? Powerlifting, you can lift a ton of weight and you can look small, but nobody's gonna know that. Strongman, same thing. Martial arts, same thing. Basketball, soccer, same thing. You can be bad at all that. You can try and get good and then be sad about the fact that you're not very good at it, but you don't display it everywhere you go. You don't display your basketball skills everywhere you go. You don't display your soccer expertise everywhere you go. You display your body, your physique everywhere you go. So that makes it prime target. That makes it a very prime target to end up making yourself feel really bad about it if you aren't meeting the standards that you have arbitrarily decided for yourself. But in general, when you focus on something this much, focus on your body or anything else this much, when it becomes your prime reason for living, what mainly defines you, your raison d'être, as they say in French. I probably pronounced that wrong. I haven't taken French class in years. Anyways, when you look at when that's the main thing that's defining you, and you think about it so intently, you think about it that much, it's going to end up having problems. C.S. Lewis said that humility is not thinking less of yourself, but it's thinking of yourself less. And I made a video about this on my other channel, Dr. Apollo, a long time ago. You guys can check that out. I go into more detail about this. The human desire is insatiable, but the things of this world are finite. So when you have an insatiable desire, like, getting as big as possible, that's a desire that can never actually be met because you can always, theoretically get bigger, right? It's very possible, given this framework, that you could get body dysmorphia. Obviously, not everyone who bodybuilds has body dysmorphia. For example, I don't think I have body dysmorphia, but, and many other people who bodybuild, of course, don't have body dysmorphia. But this is just laying out a template as to how this can happen to you. And assuming you're watching this video, you may struggle with it yourself, or maybe you're just curious and you're watching the video, in which case, hi, thank you. So what I would start off with here is that you ought to focus on things outside of bodybuilding, right? I know it sounds, you don't want to do it, it sounds kind of contradictory, but yeah, you have to just stop focusing on bodybuilding. You can even do other physical endeavors like, martial arts, powerlifting. You can spend a time period just working on your power lifts. You can work on your athletics. You can try and run faster or jump higher, that sort of stuff. In which case, at that point, this is kind of what like athletes have. Their body is a byproduct of their training. It's not like the main focus of their training, but they get a nice body and they're like, oh, okay, that's nice. Like a fighter, they have nice bodies. Everyone says, oh, fighters have really good bodies. Football players as well, but it's not the main thing that's defining them, so they don't have body dysmorphia. They don't really care really how they look. When a bodybuilder notices the fact that maybe their chest is small, that's gonna haunt them. If they have body dysmorphia, of course, that's gonna haunt them for a long time. But if I told Bruce Lee's a very aesthetic athlete, one of the most aesthetic athletes I think out there, or of all time, I'd say. But if I were to tell him that, hey, your chest is small, he'd be like, okay, I don't really care. He'd look at himself like, oh, I have nice abs, I have not big shoulders, I have big arms. But if you tell me he has a small chest, oh, you're bad, you have a small chest, he'd be like, I don't really care. Like, it's okay, whatever, I don't really care. And that's again because getting a good body is just a byproduct of their ultimate goal, which for him was martial arts. Another short-term hack, if you don't want to spend all that time and all that effort is completely switching your focus to another discipline, or putting your priorities into another discipline, is to go kind of incognito at the gym. And I got this tip from Alberto Nunez. Wear a thick hoodie, wear a thick sweater, or something that doesn't show off your muscles. Wear baggy sweatpants and just train in that. They'll force you to not look at yourself in the mirror, because there's nothing really to look at. You look exactly the same no matter what. And it would probably even help you to focus more on the movements and focusing more on maybe how it's making your muscles feel as opposed to how it's making your muscles look. Because when you train for a long period of time, you may be focusing more on how your muscles look and how much of a pump you have, as opposed to focusing on the technique, focusing on really the mind-muscle connection, getting the hypertrophy, making sure that you are pushing through your quads, you're pushing through when you're squatting, or you're bench pressing with proper muscle activation, that sort of stuff. I haven't tried this myself, but I believe this will work, and there's a lot of extrapolating off what I already know about body dysmorphia and about fitness and how the brain works even. This ought to work very well. So I would recommend, shifting your focus to one thing and something else for a period of time, if that's feasible for you, if you want to do that, or just go incognito at the gym like Alberto Nunez is recommending here. But what I think is actually more important, what I think is actually better, a more substantive solution, is to just reorganize your entire philosophy, not just have these short-term hacks that kind of change you, that can help you in the short term, but having a completely different philosophy of, why you work out and why you train, really. Oftentimes for me, when I train, it is to ultimately bring glory to God. I want to train for my health, of course, so I can live as long as possible. And I want to train to keep my body in pristine, optimal, highest quality condition. That way I can give glory to God. It's a gift that I want to maximize as much as possible. I work out to bring glory to God, to make my body in pristine condition, to make it in the most beautiful, elegant form possible. And with that in mind, it's sort of like, well, why would I have body dysmorphia? It's like, I'm doing everything I can given the constraints that I've been given, I've been doing everything I can. So like, why would I really feel that bad about it? It's like, I was just given the cards I was given, make the most of it. But, ultimately my body's going to go away and there'll be a perfected body in heaven anyways. So I'll do what I can with this body. But I ultimately recognize that, it is what it is. I've been given the cards I've been given, so nothing really to complain about for me. Because this gives me a lot of inspiration to work out, right? Because working out essentially is an expression of gratitude to God. So obviously I'm going to work out as hard as I possibly can to maximize my what I've been given as much as possible. But it also reminds me of the fact that there are things beyond myself, beyond me, that are more important, that are worth fighting for, that I need to put my focus on that more. I often remember this when I fast, when I go for periods like a week or two or more where I restrict my food, and I recognize that, there are things that are more important than even food to me. And obviously that extends to the gym. There are things that are more important than the gym to me, because when I restrict food, of course, it harms my progress at the gym. So I'm actively going against maximizing my body. Your body actively shrinks and it gets weaker and it's deprived of the nutrients that it needs to function maximally. But this is all just a reminder that there are things that are more important than food, that there are things that are more important than the gym that you ought to have your focus on. So it helps with the first point I made about how you need to focus, shift your perspective on what's important. And it's a short-term thing where it helps shift your perspective, your importance for a short period of time. And it's a long-term thing in that it gives you a substantive philosophy that makes it pretty much impossible to have body dysmorphia. So yeah, that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm actually writing something about this, the last part about physical fitness and Christianity. I've been actually writing a lot about that in a book that I'm working on. So maybe that'll come out eventually at some point. I don't know. I've been writing it for a while. So yeah.
It's available for pre-order. Buy it here.
Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you all next time. Peace.